Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. There will be no SmackDown review this week. Instead, we're going to do a WrestleMania preview show. We're going to do previews of Night 1 and Night 2. And I may talk about SmackDown a little bit throughout this thing, but it is not primarily a SmackDown review. So, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal was one of the worst Battle Royals I've ever seen in my life. It was legitimately super boring. I have never seen a battle royal where people barely get touched and they fly over the top rope. It was awful. I don't care that Bronson Reed won. I don't think anybody cares that Bronson Reed won. So that's one thing from SmackDown I mentioned. The second thing from SmackDown that I mentioned is the storyline where they replaced Dragon Lee with Andrade, because that actually ties into WrestleMania, even though I think that the match is actually on Night 1. Andrade and Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. So this spins out of SmackDown, this pivot. It spins out of SmackDown. What occurs is Carlito finds Dragon Lee on the ground hurting for certain right before Zelina Vega's match with Elektra Lopez. As they go to the ring, Zelina is discombobulated because Dragon Lee just got beat up and Rey is with her in her corner. Dragon Lee was supposed to be in her corner too, but now it's just Rey. Elektra Lopez comes to the ring. She's got Dominic. She's got Santos. And now here comes Andrade. And they show, because everybody knows the history between Zelina and Andrade, they show Zelina's reaction to Andrade being with Legado del Fantasma. And she's pretty upset. The heels cheat. Elektra Lopez wins. And then after the match, we find out that Dragon Lee is too injured to compete. Therefore, Rey has to wrestle by himself, essentially. And then Andrade immediately steps in. Zelina Vega loves that idea. Carlito comes in a little bit later, like, hey, did you hear? And then they're like, yeah, Andrade already stepped up. And then Carlito's like, okay, yeah, you guys are going to win. So clearly they're going to have Carlito turn heel here. Maybe in this match, Carlito turns heel, or maybe afterwards. In terms of who I think should win, definitely Rey Mysterio and Andrade. I feel bad for Dragon Lee. I was really excited that Dragon Lee, as a very young wrestler, was going to get an opportunity to wrestle at WrestleMania and to basically tag team with Rey and show what he can do. It's very, I hate to use the word unfair. It's very unfair that they took him out and replaced him with Andrade rather than making it a 6-man tag. I think that probably would have been a better option. It's just make it a 6-man tag. Just turn Carlito and put him with Dominic and Santos. And then Andrade joins, Rey and Dragon Lee. And that way Dragon Lee gets his spotlight. And I get what they're trying to do. They're going to have Carlito and Dragon Lee probably feud after WrestleMania. But to tease Dragon Lee, with this big WrestleMania match, just to yank it from him at the last minute is very unfair. And I don't like that, because I like Dragon Lee. I like Andrade too, so I'm not saying like Andrade should have just been off the card. Actually, one of my biggest complaints is that they brought Andrade back in January and then haven't been using him. My issue is Dragon Lee is younger than everybody involved in this situation, except maybe Dominic. I think him and Dominic might be around the same age. He might be a couple of months younger than Dominic. He is going to be your guy that you're building for the future. Him and Dominic are your future guys. Santos Escobar is almost 40. Andrade is almost 40. Rey is 50, thereabouts. None of these guys are the future. You want to showcase the future at WrestleMania 2. And I think Dragon Lee definitely should have gotten that opportunity. And it's very, I hate to use the word unfair. It's very unfair that he got dick teased with this opportunity just for it to get snatched away from him. And since he is one of these free agents that actually did sign with WWE, why pull him from the show? Now, he may be on the show eventually. He's going to appear, where he probably show up and attack somebody or something. But for him to not be featured is not right. But I'm going to go with Rey and Andrade to win that match. The reported opener for Night 1 of WrestleMania, Rhea Ripley defends the championship against Becky Lynch. I would imagine this is the opener because it's very obvious that Rhea Ripley is going to win this match. I've been saying, I may have said it once or twice so far, but the way I've been thinking about it is that this is the passing of the torch. That Triple H's version of passing of the torch is Becky giving the torch to Rhea. Vince's idea was Charlotte. So she's already beaten Charlotte. Now she's going to beat Becky. I don't think that there's any universe in which Becky Lynch defeats Rhea Ripley in this match. Rhea just has such tremendous charisma and she's got so much momentum. I don't think she's going to lose the belt for a long time. You'll probably have to put forth some real effort into building some other opponents. But she might do a 2 or 3 match run with Becky. And I don't think this will be the end of their feud, but I definitely think Becky's going to lose this match. Tag Team Championship 6-pack challenge, Judgment Day versus Awesome Truth versus DIY versus The New Day versus A-Town Down Under versus the New Catch Republic. This is a bathroom break. This features all the people I don't want to see. I don't want to see 90% of these people. Literally, like, Damian Priest is fine, Finn Balor is fine, Austin Theory is fine, Grayson Waller is fine. Everybody else, I don't really need them, and it's just a way of getting all of these people on the card. And I understand it. They're saying that both championship belts have to be pulled down. I'm guessing they're going to do the split of the championship here, because they've been talking for a while now about splitting up the tag team titles. And it seems like they may do this corny shit where DIY pull down the Raw belts and the New Catch Republic pull down the SmackDown belts, and those two teams separate with the tag team championships. That seems to be the best option. And I choose those two teams because Triple H likes those 4 guys for some odd reason. And the NXT black and gold infestation of WWE is just becoming cancerous. It's killing the host, man. We could have had some really fun stuff, except for we just had to jam all these guys together. Finn Balor, I think, is checked out mentally. And I don't think he cares anymore. Damian Priest still has the Money in the Bank briefcase, so it don't matter if he loses these tag team belts. Actually, it might be better for him to refocus by losing these tag team titles. I do believe, and I'll say this, I do believe Damian Priest will cash in his Money in the Bank during this WrestleMania time. I do believe that. So I believe that he's probably going to lose the belts here, maybe cash in his Money in the Bank the next night or later the same night on Seth Rollins. So I'm going to go with the titles being split and the New Catch Republic, who Triple H loves to death for some odd reason, and DIY both somehow winning. If that doesn't occur, let's say that that's a 1 in 100 chance that happens, I think that the winner should probably be Awesome Truth. As a team who has the most momentum in terms of storyline, having a quote-unquote WrestleMania moment, a good feel-good moment, R-Truth and The Miz winning the tag team championships are probably the best opportunity to have a feel-good moment. I don't really need that, but I guess they like to have WrestleMania moments, and R-Truth overcoming Judgment Day to win the tag team championship seemed like it fits the story that they've been telling on Raw. So unless they're going to put all the boring white guys over, they're probably just going to put over The Miz and R-Truth. All right, match 4 on the show, Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. I'm disappointed by the lack of emotion put into this match. Like, there's so much more emotional weight they could have put into this match. There's far more emotional weight they could have put into the Solo Sikoa Jey Uso match from SmackDown. It just seems like, I get it because Jay's outside the bloodline. It doesn't have the same tension that it used to have. Because, Jimmy has screwed Jay over so many times. Because they've kicked each other in the face so many times. Because they've fought so many times. The tension is lessened. I understand. I don't like that, though. I would have preferred a more pensive Jey Uso who didn't really want to fight Jimmy and who don't really want to fight Solo and is kind of forced into it. I would have preferred to have Rikishi involved, and there's a lot of missed opportunity, I think, with this storyline that you could have added so much more drama. You could have added so much more weight to this story. At this point, man, it's a mirror match. It's like you're playing Mortal Kombat, and it's Scorpion versus Sub-Zero. They have moderately different moves, but it's just a palette swap of each other. Like Jey Uso wears blue and Jimmy wears red. I mean, whatever. I don't see how this match means much of anything for the Bloodline story going forward. Of course, Jey Uso is going to win. He has been positioned as being the higher ranking in the hierarchy of the two. Jimmy, there should have been something there that if Jimmy loses, he's out of the Bloodline, or if if Jey wins, then Jimmy has to leave the Bloodline or something. The idea that we're just going to have these two have a match, nothing's going to change about it afterwards. So, like it seems to me that it was really weird, but this seemed like an opportunity where you could have had a lot of drama, where Jey could have, confronted Jimmy about why Jimmy continued to go into the Bloodline, and said that the only way I'll fight you is if I beat you, you have to leave the Bloodline, and then Jimmy accepts the match, or that Jimmy continues to mess with Jey, which they've been doing. That was the storyline, and then Jey doesn't want to fight Jimmy, and then he offers him something or pushes him to the point where he has to fight him. Jey just basically, I'm sick of Jimmy, I'm gonna kick his ass. That's fine too, but there should be something to add more drama to this. And the only reason why I picked this particular match to say there should be more drama is because this is a 3-year story. It's a 4-year story between Jimmy and Jey. It's a 15, 20, how old are these guys? 38? It's a 38-year drama. These guys have never wrestled each other before. This is an opportunity to tell a real deep story, and I think they missed it. But Jey Uso is going to win. The 6-woman tag match, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi versus Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. Beyonce has done irreparable damage to black women. I mean, you watch SmackDown, and all 3 of these black women are wearing cowboy hats inexplicably in Philadelphia for no reason. If Beyonce, turned her skin inside out, half of black women would do it too. So that's my thoughts on that. And that promo was super cringe. Calling themselves the Big 3. Okay. What does Ice Cube think about that? Anyway, Jade Cargill is in this match. It's a showcase match for Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi are going to win. The Intercontinental Championship match, Gunther versus Sami Zayn, is on night 1. This is a big match. This is probably the singles main event of the night. They have it listed in the co-main event spot right next to the tag team match. They've been telling the story of Sami Zayn and Gunther, and Sami Zayn, refinding the eye of the tiger with Chad Gable in his corner. They're trying to reheat Sami Zayn from what they did with him last year with the match with Roman Reigns. And they played into that by playing into what everybody likes about Sami, which is that he's a perpetual underdog. I still feel like I'm detached from this match because it should be Chad Gable due to the amount of emotional weight that is in the Chad Gable story. Going with Sami Zayn feels like a cop-out to me, but I don't think Sami should win. I don't think he should be the guy that ends Gunther's streak. I don't think that he's the guy who should win the title and overcome Gunther. I don't think he should be that guy. Will he be? Probably. I think that if you're Triple H, you probably book Sami Zayn to go over. If you're MagMongoSlade, Sami Zayn's not even in this match. He might be in the something else. I don't know. He'd probably be on the show, but I don't know where. So I'm going to go with Gunther winning. I just think that it makes more sense. Yes, it kind of shoots the Sami Zayn story in the foot, but I don't think this is going to be the end. I think Sami's going to lose. And then maybe in Backlash, they'll make the swap and Chad Gable will wrestle in France and win the belt. But Sami Zayn doesn't need this. It does. He's already been Intercontinental Champion multiple times. I don't see how it really benefits him to win this thing unless they're going to do a story where Sami Zayn wins the belt and then Chad Gable turns on him and tries to beat him for it. I guess that's possible. But why build up all that sympathy and that emotional investment for Chad Gable just to turn him heel? I don't know. Maybe that might work. It might make Sami Zayn matter a little bit. But then what do you do with Gunther? And I guess you could just move him up the card at that point. He doesn't really need this belt anymore. But I'm going to go with Gunther winning. The main event of the evening, the Bloodline, Roman Reigns and The Rock versus Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. If Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins wins, all Bloodline members will be barred from ringside during Rhodes' match against Reigns. And if the Reigns wins, then it will be Bloodline rules on night 2. They've been telling a tremendous story between The Rock and Cody. They've been telling a tremendous story between The Rock and Cody. I expect this match to be mostly no disqualification. That they're probably going to do a lot of cheating. There's probably going to be some weapons involved. I don't think that they'll adhere too far to the rules. You know, it's a good toss-up though because it doesn't really change the night 2 match that much. You could theoretically have Cody and Rollins win, and you ban Bloodline members from ringside, and then that explains why Roman loses. But you could also have The Rock go over, or Roman Reigns go over, put Seth Rollins and Cody into a pit that they have to dig themselves out of on night 2. And that would be probably a better story. So I guess the Bloodline winning is better for the story because now Cody has to overcome the entirety of the Bloodline in his WrestleMania main event. That's going to be tons of bells and whistles and, bullshit, right? Which is possible. This match is going to go on forever, too. Like, I know that there's conversation that this match is going to go long. I do believe this match is going to go like 30 minutes. But it's going to be chaos. So it's not like they're going to be in a 20-minute chin lock. It's probably going to be Rollins jumping all over the place, Cody jumping all over the place. Going to have some run-ins for Jimmy and Solo. So there's going to be a lot of bells and whistles on this match. There's going to be some weapons. Maybe The Rock may get hit with some stuff. But I really expect this match to be fun. I'm not expecting a traditional wrestling match. It's going to be basically a Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody walk-in brawl for The Rock. He's not going to take a bunch of bumps. He may, stumble, like he's a deer on ice for a little bit. The Roman is certainly not going to take 100 bumps. So I don't expect those two guys to take too many bumps at all. But they may get knocked down a lot, but they probably won't, be out here taking big superplexes and everything. There's not going to be a lot of that. So I like the idea of Rock and Roman, their egos not being able to maintain and it falling apart. I think that's been the story that they've been leading to the entire time. Yes, Roman and The Rock as a mega powers team, it works. Yes, it would suck for it to be broken up so soon, but I think Roman mentally checked out once it became a tag team match and he had to wrestle twice. I think if you want to get him more involved, you get him back on the path of him and The Rock wrestling each other next year at WrestleMania. And I think you do that by having Roman maybe not give a shit about The Rock and the two of them fall out. And that leads to Cody and Seth winning. So I'm going to go with Cody and Seth winning in this match. And then maybe a Damian Priest cash in. Maybe. Because Bloodline rules is not going to happen at WrestleMania the next night, doesn't mean it can't happen on this night. And this was probably where you'll see a lot of shenanigans and a lot of run-ins and things like that. The Rock said that he's not necessarily done after WrestleMania, that he's having fun. So because he has such creative freedom when it comes to this storyline and Brian Gerwitz and all these things that they want to do, I can see The Rock maybe hanging around after WrestleMania. I don't think he'll be wrestling, but him hanging around is probably for the best. And I think it's really good for the company. I don't think he'll make as many appearances, but I do think that he may continue to hang around. And The Rock being around is great. He's been doing fantastic with this final boss thing. They've been trying to make it so that he doesn't overshadow Roman Reigns, but he is overshadowing Roman Reigns. And I don't know if that's by design, if that's part of the story, or, that is Roman's paranoia that he used to have when he used to think that Jimmy and Jay were trying to overshadow him. Is that going to kick in? And that's what's going to lead to the breakup of the team. And I think The Rock kind of wants to be the babyface in the story with Roman Reigns. That's what I think. And but he's been doing tremendous with this final boss thing. And I don't think it's going to be easy to turn The Rock babyface after all the stuff he did to Cody. So we might end up in the situation where Roman ends up as the babyface, but that won't be until night 2, of course. So WWE is in an interesting position when it comes to night 2 because of everything that happens in night 1. And the only reason to make this thing feel, because the card is very weak when you look at the card for night 2. But if you bring some of the stories of things that happened on night 1 and bring it to night 2, now you have some interesting business that you can get into here. Because the end of night 1 is Seth Rollins and Cody versus Roman and The Rock. And regardless of what happens, Seth Rollins has to wrestle Drew McIntyre on night 2. And they had it listed as the first match, as just the opener. So, in my opinion, Drew McIntyre absolutely must win this championship. He must win. They announced another Clash at the Castle show. This time it's actually in Scotland, as far as I know. Him going into that show as the champion is probably the best option that you got. I know I've been saying Damian Priest is going to cash in his Money in the Bank. I think you have to say that because there's always an option. But I think Drew McIntyre absolutely must win this title here. If Seth Rollins is the guy who takes the pin in the tag team match, him being in a weakened state going into this match and losing the belt, it plays into the Drew McIntyre story that Drew has been saying that he needs to focus on him and that all this stuff with the bloodline is going to cost him dearly. That is the best option that you've got going into this match because I don't think this match is interesting any other way. I know there's a lot of people who are fully behind Drew McIntyre and his new troll gimmick where he's, being an internet troll and all this kind of stuff. But I don't think that people really care about this match, really, That's why CM Punk is involved. I think CM Punk is lifting a lot of the weight here. And I wish he was the referee. To me, that would be magical. Him as the commentator, I don't think does it justice. He should have been the referee. He should have been in the ring so that he could play off of both of these guys. And he doesn't need to take any bumps or do anything like that. He just needs to show his face and have an attitude and be fun and be fresh and all this kind of stuff in the ring. That could have added a lot to this match. I'm glad this is the opener, if it's the opener, right? I would have hated for this match to come on third or something. So I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre winning the title because it's got to happen. Or Drew is dead, and he might as well just go to AEW, all right? I mean, it's over. If he doesn't win this match, it's over. So the next match listed is Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain. I don't like either team name. The Pride. Ugh, that sounds gay. Sounds very rainbow. Hate to break. I don't like it. And the Final Testament. How are people testaments? I don't know. Karrion Kross has been doing a great job with his Twitter promos. He hasn't been getting a lot of time on TV. I don't think it's really translated. Like the crowd really isn't behind this feud. They love Lashley and the Street Profits. Bianca Belair has talked about how they tried to turn the Street Profits heel and it didn't work because they love him so much. Lashley, of course, has been super over with the audience. They don't want to boo him. They love Lashley. I don't think it matters who wins this match though, because there's nothing to be gained, nothing to be lost. So it's just basically, it's like Finley and JBL from that one WrestleMania. What was that, 24? Where they just went out there and beat each other up. People thought it was fun, but there was nothing more to it than that. I think that Lashley saying that they've been having handcuffs on them and that he should be in the main events and stuff like this. It shows what I have been saying for the last couple of weeks, is that, he's feeling very unappreciated. He got onto this card at the very last minute. Again, people have been attacking me for that tweet that I did, though, when I said that Lashley wasn't going to be on the card, but Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate was. They're like, oh, Lashley's on the card. They announced it on Twitter. Are you serious? They announced it after SmackDown went off the air, for God's sake. They didn't put any effort into this thing on television. So the crowd's not behind this. The only way to make it interesting is to have all these guys fighting each other. It's going to be fun, I think. And I think Lashley and the Street Profits have to win. Yes, AOP as big giant dudes, they should win. Karrion Kross is a big giant dude. He should win. But I think that this should be the cap to the feud. It should be the end of it. And if this is going to be the end, then Lashley has to go. Lashley and his squad has to go over. The question is, what does any of these people do once this is over? That's my question. What do you do with any of these people when this is over? And I do expect the girls to get involved too. They may not be legal participants, but Scarlett is a wrestler and B-Fab is, well, she wrestles sometimes. So I expect them to do some stuff in this match. They're going to be hanging around. So, they may attack each other, do some catfight stuff in the ring. So that should be fun. That should add a little bit of elements of fun to it. All right, the third match on the show, LA Knight versus AJ Styles. They did a really cool angle at the press conference where LA Knight bust AJ Styles' nose and got cussed out. AJ Styles is talking about how his body is beat up and he can't take no more. He's on his last legs. Poor AJ. I also appreciate that AJ Styles talked about, the change of CM Punk and how now he kind of wants to work with him, because we know that, for a couple of years ago, those two were at cross purposes like a sumbitch. They didn't like each other at all. So now it seems like CM Punk is going around kind of making amends with most people. I know him and Kevin Owens have not made amends, but he's making amends with most people. I would like to see an AJ Styles CM Punk match before AJ retires. Maybe as AJ's final opponent. That would be fun. But for this match, there really is no benefit to AJ Styles winning. LA Knight's been a guy that the company wants him to be at a higher point, but they refuse to open up spots for him. He kind of botched a little bit on his promo on SmackDown. And a lot of folks are saying, like, hey, since The Rock came back, who really cares about LA Knight? We got the genuine article now. We don't really care about the knockoff. And this was the negative to LA Knight leaning so heavily into doing The Rock's stuff. Is now that The Rock is back, now what? He comes across like a second tier guy, and he's, 40 or something like that. He's barely getting started. LA Knight needs to win because he needs to be moving up the card. But LA Knight should be the guy wrestling Logan Paul for the U.S. title and quite possibly winning it. This is, it's not even, it's a sidestep. AJ Styles is a great opponent. The problem is this is late stage AJ Styles where people are just kind of shrugging and saying, like, it's AJ Styles. He's good. It's not going to suck. But is anybody going to really get behind it? They're going to have to work really hard to get the crowd to care about this. They're going to have to work really hard to get people to care. And that's a bad spot for AJ to be in. But remember last time we thought AJ was going to, was screwed when he wrestled Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. It ended up being a better match than he had with Shinsuke Nakamura. It ended up being the best AJ Styles WrestleMania match so far. And this has the potential with these two guys to be a really good match. The thing is the crowd going to care? And it being right smack dab in the middle of the show with no gimmick, with no stakes, just these two guys don't like each other. Fine. It works. It works for a main event of SmackDown. I don't think this will be the end for them, though. They'll probably build up to another match and maybe a couple of other matches. But I'm going to go with LA Knight winning because they want to put him over on the big stage. Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens, triple threat match for the United States Championship. I hate this. I hate everything about this. I hate Kevin Owens. He sucks. I don't even see why he's employed, let alone on this show, and then shoehorned into the Randy Orton and Logan Paul match. I don't like that Randy Orton is wrestling for the United States belt because I know he's not going to win it. All right? He's not going to win this match. Orton should be working. If he can't work singles matches, he should be in a tag team match with somebody else or something. This sucks, all right? There's two baby faces and one heel. But because I know they'll likely bring Grayson Waller and Austin Theory into this thing, that's going to be an excuse to have Logan Paul be outnumbered in this situation. It's because they're always going to use goons. He's going to have KSI. There's going to be some other people floating about. But Randy shouldn't be involved with this. Or if Randy is going to be involved with this, it should be Randy Orton versus, a slew of people with Logan Paul and a bunch of other people. Other than that, man, I don't see Logan Paul is going to win. And so what? To me, it doesn't seem feasible that Randy Orton's going to win the U.S. title. He's not. And Kevin Owens is just in this thing because he's probably Triple H's best good friend. Logan Paul should win. It should be Logan Paul versus LA Knight. That's what it should be. And Randy Orton should be doing something else. And Kevin Owens should go back to mopping floors. Io Sky versus Bayley as the co-main event of night 2. Okay. This is an interesting bit because Bayley should win. I think everything is set up for Bayley to win and to get a huge moment, a feel-good moment. Io has been champion for a long time. At the same time, though, do you want to establish Io as a top star by having her win? Bayley's bulletproof at this point. She can lose a lot and she'll be fine. So I'm not that against Bayley losing, but it seems to me like WrestleMania is all about the big moments, and I don't think Bayley has had one yet. And the idea of Bayley having this huge WrestleMania moment where she gets this lengthy singles match where she wins the title, I think that's what a lot of people would like. Because Bayley has been treated like the redhead stepchild of the Four Horsewomen. And for her to get this huge WrestleMania shot and be the guy who goes over and wins, I think that's the dream. I'm not sure how many people are going to be behind that, but that's the dream. Triple H would like for Bayley to get on the same level as Becky Lynch and Charlotte, even though she's far more of a utility player than Becky Lynch or Charlotte or Sasha Banks. And there's nothing wrong with Bayley. Absolutely nothing. I love Auntie Pam. And she's hot in a dress. But you have to understand that role players are role players. And superstars are superstars. Becky Lynch proved to herself to be a superstar. Charlotte has proved herself to be a superstar. Sasha Banks, Mercedes, for all of her ego, she's a superstar. I think Bayley is a really good wrestler. She is, again, I always liken her to Chris Jericho. She's not the poster people you put on posters. She's not that one. And Io's not likely to be that one either. But I think it's about Triple H really loves Bayley. He's probably going to put Bayley over. Bayley's going to win at WrestleMania. She's going to look great. Pomp, circumstance, fire, confetti, fireworks, confetti, all that kind of stuff. But I'm just not sure what it's going to look like in the long term. There's a lot of opportunity there for Bayley if she was to win. But if Io wins, then you put over the younger star. I don't know. I think Bayley's like in her mid-30s. Io is in her early 30s. You also have the opportunity for maybe Jade Cargill to wrestle with Io. for Naomi to wrestle Io for the title. I know they wrestled on SmackDown recently, but you could do a lot more stuff with Io as champion than you can with Bayley. But it seems to make more sense to have that big moment where Bayley wins and goes over. That seems to be the direction that they're going to go in. And since WrestleMania and WWE is all about WrestleMania moments, that seems to be the direction that they want to go in, is having, Bayley go over. All right, the main event, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. And the stipulation is to be determined. I don't think it matters. I think Cody wins. If Cody doesn't win, he's dead in the water. Much like Drew McIntyre, if Cody Rhodes does not win this title, it's over. Look, I am a lover of chaos. I'm a lover of really kick people in the balls type of storytelling to get people invested in something and then kick them in the nuts. It gets people more invested in the product, And I think Cody losing last year got people way more invested in the product than if he would have won. If Cody wins, though, of course, the question is, what's next? Finish the story. Okay, he finished the story. Now what? I think there's tremendous amount of storytelling left with Rock and Roman and the bloodline and all that stuff. They don't need the belt for that. That's just, they can do all that stuff, but what about Cody? What does Cody do? He goes on to be a John Cena-like babyface with a John Cena-like babyface run. That's probably going to end up with a John Cena-like babyface reaction, where it's going to become very mixed over time, especially as soon as he wins. People are going to start looking at other people and saying, hey, LA Knight, man, he deserves it, man. He should definitely get that spot. Or, oh, wouldn't it be nice if Randy Orton won the title again? Man, we love Randy Orton. Oh, yeah, man, it's Braun Breaker. Yeah, that kid, man, he's got something. And then they're going to immediately move on to somebody else. That's the indie mindset, by the way. It's not investing in things long term, but just getting to a certain point and then just saying, I don't really care anymore. Let's just go over here and do this. And I think Cody is going to fall into that trap. Roman winning would not be terrible for business. He can continue his run with The Rock and he could continue doing stuff with the bloodline. But you stepped on Cody to the point where I think it would affect his drawing ability at that point. I think it would affect his credibility. And since the company is on a hell of a run right now in terms of ticket sales and merchandise, they're doing fantastic. And Cody's the front man. Nobody else involved with this situation is a bigger draw than Cody Rhodes. Not Seth Rollins. And Rock is there rarely. And Roman's there rarely. And they're bigger draws than Cody. But Cody is the guy, is the front man of the company. And it's in a boom period. The company is. Anyway. He should get the reward for that. And that is the WWE Championship. That is the big WrestleMania moment. The pyro, the fireworks, the confetti. He should get to finish the story. And that's just objective reality. If you don't reward people for all their hard work, and if you don't reward the fans for their emotional investment, all of that stuff stops. It all stops. Cody will probably stop caring and mentally check out if he doesn't win. The crowd that's been behind Cody for 3 years now will check out. And you may actually affect business in a very real way. Which is why I think that a lot of, I don't want to say internet trolls, but a lot of people like me who like the chaos, you need to study business. Every promotion gets to that point where the top guy should not have won. And then it's when you jump the shark and you kill the promotion. And a lot of people say, well, they did it last year when Cody didn't win the belt. That was the jumping of the shark moment. It's like WWE has sold more tickets since then. TV ratings have gone up more since then than now. But that is because people had it in their mind that, okay, he didn't win this year, he's going to win next year. If he doesn't win this year, I don't think that same goodwill is going to carry you through another year. So I don't think you play with fire too much. If you care about your company and you care about business, Cody goes over. If you just want to watch the internet burn and you want to hear Mongo laugh, Cody should lose. I love the idea of Cody losing. I don't care that if Cody lost. I wouldn't like it if it was the same way. Oh, Solo showed up in a hoodie and hit thumb to the neck again. That would suck. But if Cody loses, I think you taken the air completely out of Cody Rhodes, and this thing is dead meat. And now you got this guy who's just signed a new contract on your roster. The crowd loves him, but the company is very much against him. And there's only so much of that people are going to be able to deal with before they start to turn on your product. And I think Triple H is smart enough to know you don't put people in a position to turn on your product. That's why he pivoted from Roman and Rock to, Roman and Cody again. Because he saw that, when he teased that Cody wasn't going to be in the match, that people were grumbling and it was starting to begin. I would have preferred if Cody just didn't win the Royal Rumble. Then I don't think we would have been in that situation. Part of why people were pissed is because Cody won the Royal Rumble. If he didn't win it, then I don't think people would have expected him to main event WrestleMania. And then you could have done Rock versus Roman. But since you told the story the way that you told it, people want the outcome that has been teased. The outcome that they wanted last year, which is Roman losing to Cody. And I think you got to do it this year. Cody's got to win. And if you're even decent at storytelling, you got to accept that Cody's got to win. I know that not everybody's a huge fan of Cody. I'm on the fence. I like Cody, but I call bullshit on a lot of his promos and a lot of his fake tears and a lot of that stuff. But he's really good in terms of having passion, in terms of having intensity, in terms of representing the company. He's a good spokesman. The issue that I have here is that there's a bigger match that is on the other side of this that would have made more sense. And that's Rock and Roman. And you can still have that match without the belt. But Roman has lost a lot of his aura once he loses this title. And whether it's bloodline rules or whether it's one-on-one with no bloodline members, Roman getting pinned, preferably clean in the middle of the ring, that's the best way to do it. His aura takes a huge hit. Is people still going to believe that he can beat The Rock if he loses to Cody? That's going to be the question. Of course, you could rebuild that. And I think that's where we come from the main event of night 2, where if Roman is seen as the guy who is being wronged in this situation, and he's the guy who, is fighting for something legitimate, and he loses, and then, The Rock can turn Roman babyface, that might help, but I don't know. It's an interesting scenario to be in. I just think that business-wise, you booked yourself into a corner where, I'm not sure Vince would have done this, or Vince would have just gone Rock with Roman because that's what his plan was and not pivoted. And people would have been happy with Rock and Roman and they would have loved it and thought it was great. And Cody would have finished the story some other time, but he also wouldn't have put Cody over in the Royal Rumble. I don't think he would have done that. He probably wouldn't even had Cody in it. Maybe The Rock would have come in and won at the last minute, but ultimately Cody's got to win. Roman has a lot of story ahead of him without the belt. He doesn't need it. Cody needs that reward. The fans need that validation that they picked their guy and that guy's going to keep moving the business forward. You get to make Cody into a mainstream main event guy. That works. Who you pair with Cody afterwards, you'll cross that bridge when you come to it. I think ultimately you just got to put the belt on Cody right now. And you figure it out later. Now, when it comes to the show, I expect both nights to be pretty solid, but night 2 is very weak. It's extremely weak. They probably need to add something to night 2 to boost it up, but they probably won't. They're probably going to expect the stuff with the 2 championship matches that's going to carry over from night 1 to boost night 2. And that's what they're looking at and saying, like, there's going to be something that's going to happen, whether it's a Money in the Bank cash in, whether it's an injury angle or something that's going to boost from that tag team match to Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. There's going to be something that's going to boost from that tag team match to Cody and Roman. They've already got those 2 matches completely connected. It's going to boost night 2, but that means night 1 has to be extremely fucking good and very well booked in order for it to make sense. But that's WrestleMania. I'm looking forward to it. It ought to be fun, but I'm not super excited. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you guys later.